Everybody. How's everybody doing? Cool. Um, I used to enjoy getting high in addiction, and today, the thing that kind of fuels me is like those butterflies that I get in my stomach before I do things like this. That's what I get high on today. Um, if you guys wouldn't mind silencing your cell phones, um, I'd appreciate it. So I just wanted to get a feedback from some of y'all, like the very first thing that we can just go around the room because I want to hear what everyone's is. What the very first thought, we'll start with Mike and we'll just kind of do a little snake thing. The very first thought that you had this morning when you woke up in your eyes, like what was the first thing that you remember thinking about?
First thing was I felt good.
Oh, good. So positivity, that's good.
Not the same. Felt really good. We have great service.
Excellent.
I'm fairly new, so my first thought was, God, I can't be late. I gotta get ready.
Okay. Punctuality, that's good. That's good. Yeah. You can if you want. Kenzie? Good morning, Kenzie.
I was in the clock and it said 6 o'clock, and I'm on a roll again. Another wake up at 6 and ready to face the day because I'm not a morning person and I have to get up. I have to set an alarm, and I woke up like that without alarms. I don't know what's going on.
Well, maybe your circadian rhythms are getting tuned into the right frequency.
Yeah, and that's not panic. She's my roommate, so she's up at 6. So.
Okay. Well, thanks.
My name is Whitney. I lost my mom. Some of us know that. Anyway, every morning it's the same. It's like I wake up and I am like, something's different. And it's like I'm coming out of sleep and it's like, there's something that's different. And then it's like, I think of my mom and I'm like, okay, yeah, she's not here. Like it's very hard.
She's here, maybe, but not
But like
physically.
it's this weird thing of like I remember that she's died. Like it's like I forget as soon as I wake up, and then I remember. So that's like the morning is hardest.
Yeah. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. And then the next moment is just gratitude that I'm so clean. Like it's such a gift to be present for these feelings. And through the whole process, and that we had the mending that we needed before she, passed. But anyway, that's like my little thing in the morning, and then I turn my attention to God and ask for strength. And I feel peaceful. Like that's my little process. But like the first moment is like earth shattering. So just being honest.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I feel closer to you now because of that. And so she passed just recently.
Yep, the week before, she passed on, the weeks are so crazy. Okay, so this week, I went on Tuesday to New Jersey to her services, and they were beautiful. There were bagpipe players,
Wow.
and it was like, she's from a big Catholic Irish family, so it was a mass, a big, all my family, friends I grew up with, it was love, and she was such a special person, so. Anyway, that was, yeah, and then she passed the week before that on a Monday.
How long had you been using?
I had a relapse. She's had ALS for 5 years around. That's when it started. That's like really when things started to, she became very sick. But
How many years, I'm saying?
then the last April of 2022, I relapsed. No way.
You don't want to know that. But I'm saying, well, the question is, how many years have you been doing drugs? Because you're sober today, right?
Yes, I was sober for 6 years.
Okay.
And my story is very a strange one.
But I mean,
So I was sober for 6 years and then had a horrible year of like of the underworld, and I had relapsed and was gone.
when did you first start using drugs?
The very first time.
Very first time.
Oh, that was alcohol in 8th grade.
In 8th grade. So you're about, what, 13, 12? I don't mean to ask your age because I shouldn't do that, right? With 36. So your mom passed away. I'm sorry for your loss, but she passed away knowing that her daughter is on the right path, right? What a beautiful gift.
Such a gift.
Yeah. All right.
Because I knew she was, it was any day that she was going to die for a long time. And so I was in jail, like, oh my gosh, please don't let it be today, because she was so concerned, and her voice was like, I'm so worried about you. And I just was like, please, I want her to wait until I'm okay, so she can die peaceful in that.
Yeah.
And she did. She waited.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry for your loss, but that's like a good chip on your shoulder to continue on with what you're doing, right?
Yes.
The journey. So, are you going to turn this mic down too?
Yes.
Okay. What was the first thought that went through your mind when you woke up today?
I'm grateful that I came today, and I'm grateful for my relationship with my dad, because the last 10 years of my life, we maybe spoke 3 different times each year, and I'm just grateful to be clean and learning how to deal with my emotions. Girl, you know you want to talk. I don't know what to do.
Thank you for sharing that. What's the first thought? You can put it up to your mouth there. What's the first thought that went through your mind when you woke up this morning? The very first thought that you remember.
Meds for your head, meds for your head. Because that's what our house leader says. That's what woke me up. Is my house leader Stan?
Who's your house leader?
Stanny.
Meds for your head.
Yeah, that's what she does. Meds for your head. Meds for your head.
Okay.
And so yeah, I mean that's part of my journey, is having to take get some outside help and take some meds. So I'm not as crazy, you know what I mean? But I think that's a really big part of my story. Like, that's probably one of the first things that happens when I start my relapse process, is I stop taking my psych meds. And then it's just kind of all downhill from there. So that's the way that I start my day out, is drinking some water, taking some meds and coffee and chores, and then getting dressed and coming to the church and just doing what is asked of me all day, every day. And sometimes I clean houses, sometimes I clean professional buildings, and stuff is just kind of blossoming. I do what I'm supposed to do, the right things will happen, and just kind of, I really do chase this. Like, I would chase my drugs, and I'm putting a lot of effort into it this time.
Thank you. I'll get that for you.
Put it up to your mouth.
I have one of these right here. Yeah. Thank you, though. Tommy, what was the first thought that went through your head, man?
Usually when I wake up in the mornings, I'm used to living with my daughter, and on the weekends I get up and make breakfast, and she sits at the table and we talk, and I kind of woke up this morning missing that. I miss my daughter a lot. Try to text her, told her, just thinking about you, and I love you.
Sure.
Helped out.
Well, it sounds to me like your priorities are right where they need to be today, right? Because back in the active addiction, the first thought, I don't know about y'all, but my first thought in my head was, where was I going to get high today? Where was I going to get my fix? How hard or how far, or what I had to do to accomplish that? And so worrying about your family, your daughter most importantly, that's coming a long way. Not that you didn't, but I mean the priorities are right where they shifted to be where they need to be. So that's good.
Howdy, my first
Dwight, yeah.
My first thought was confusion. I have pretty lucid dreams. I'm like, oh, am I dreaming or am I awake?
Did you have one of those wild lucid dreams last night?
Always.
Well, give us some insight on it. I might regret asking this in a second.
Yeah.
If it's appropriate.
All my dreams are appropriate.
Okay.
Greatness ensues, but let's just leave it at that. Pretty amazing. But when you try to describe it, it's like trying to hold on to air.
I gotcha.
I know it was great.
Okay. John?
First thought in the morning is basically praising the higher power for letting me wake up and be alive today. And for the strength to stay focused and try to beat this addiction.
Yeah. I met your buddy Randy the other day. That was really cool that you got him up here. So bless your heart for that.
Picked him up because I knew he'd stayed where he was at, he'd probably end up dead.
Yeah, and he's a great guy. And he helped me and Grant out the other day moving furniture here. So he's great people. So are you. You know, yeah, good to see you this morning.
I just slip up every now and again.
We all do, but, you know, none of us are perfect.
I had a counselor tell me one time, it's okay to fall, just don't stay where you fall at.
Yeah. Today I try to fall forward, not backwards, you know, because I'm going to fall, I'm going to make mistakes. But if they're fixable moments. Yeah, we're human. Henry, I didn't mean to skip over you. Let me get that right quick. My man Henry sometimes has some awesome stuff. Not sometimes, most of the time.
I woke up actually this morning like really awake, even though I got back last night at like 1 from Maryland, because we got to go with Big John to it's actually an NA camp out up in Maryland. And unlike the NA camp out we went to when I was in intensive, everybody there had like mad clean time, which kind of was a bummer in a way because they weren't very like welcoming, I guess you could say, from my perspective.
Mhm.
You know, and John said the word fuck probably 115 times. So they didn't seem to like that.
Mm.
I mean, the impression a lot of people had was that it was fire, but you could tell a lot of them were like, we're sophisticated northern compared to like Richmond. Like, what is Richmond doing here? He introduced us as Peg Leg, Henry Batman, and Methadone AJ, and then Kim's pretty cool. So that was how that went. And so this morning I woke up and I was like skydiving in my dream. So I like wrote that down in my notes. I was like, yo, this is sick. Like squirrel suits and shit.
Dang. I want to be up in those dreams. That's cool. No? Thank you. Thank you for sharing. First thought that came to your mind when you woke up this morning.
My first thought was I got a lot to do today.
Okay. All right. Thanks for sharing. That's good. First thought.
My name's Adam.
Hey, Adam.
First thought was probably my kids. I always think about my kids.
Yeah.
Give me the drive to work the program and, become better, do better. So, that's about it. Had a good day yesterday.
Good. How many days have you been here at McShin?
Since Wednesday.
Since Wednesday. Welcome. Welcome. I'm glad you're here, man. Welcome home, they said. Yeah. Ali.
How you doing? The first thought I had today was doesn't sound very good thought, or not a bad thought, just why is this one blocking, this one not? But other than that, I had a very good conversation yesterday, and after that I spoke to my mom, and she told me something that kind of goes towards what Whitney was going to. This is like a very nice message that I got just here today. But she told me that in Islam, like, you're supposed to make sure that your mom's like approving of like you before she dies, which is like, and her telling me that was amazing because I had an issue the other day, like saying in the 10th step that only thing, like one of my reservations, or the main reservations, if she dies, I'm either going to use or like kill myself. And hearing, and I didn't even know you were going through this, and you just being, I haven't had a conversation with you yet, but you being like very understanding and engaged with people, I don't think I'd be able to do that if I just lost her, honestly. And that's very, just shows a lot of character. And that helps me go to like, be like, all right, maybe it's a little bit selfish of me if my mom believes in me and is approving of me that after she dies that I kill myself or do drugs. So that helps a lot.
Thanks for sharing, Ali.
My first thought was I'm excited that today is the day I get to see my son.
Thank you, Dylan.
So I woke up like 3 times. So the first time I woke up, I remembered I didn't take my night meds. And then the second time.
Are you in Danny's house?
No.
Oh. Okay, okay. All right.
But I don't know why I didn't take my night meds. I don't know. But then the second time I woke up, I was wondering if my daughter went to sleep on time because she likes to stay up and play Roblox. And the third time when I woke up for good, it was today's the last day of contract. So
Didn't you move out?
of what?
McShin, I thought you had got, no?
No, I got moved to Clover.
You got moved, oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Last day of contract, though. That's good.
Yes.
Congratulations. So we won't be seeing you next?
Yeah, you will.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. That's good. All right.
Hi. I guess my first thought was, let me put my Jesus
Okay. Is that really your first thought?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Thanks for sharing.
Amanda, my first thought was, I gotta get out of this house. And because I live with my dad and stepmom right now.
Okay.
And then I knew I was coming here to meet them for church, so I was like, cool.
Okay. Thanks for sharing. Why don't you come up? You come up to the front. Come on the way up. Let me mic you up right quick. We can switch roles. Well, what was your first thought? Come on, best friend. Tell me.
I am not dope sick, and
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there shaking in my bed and having to get high so I can get out of bed.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I like that. That's kind of where this all thing is leading to. I guess you probably picked up on that a little bit. That's good. First thought.
Good morning, I'm James.
Good morning, James.
My first thought was that I just did go out there from waking me up. It was 5 o'clock and I was laying there and I started saying, why? I thought about my act of using. I used to use with this girl, right? And she used to call me Lamont. I said, my name ain't Lamont. She said, it is Lamont. I said, okay, you the only one can call me Lamont. So life went on. But when I got here, I've been here 9 months. I thought about it. I said, you know what? She was calling me Lamont because on prayer Sunday, you big dummy.
Oh, dang.
But I just started laughing, so I said, well, God, I'm going to church this morning.
All right. Thanks for sharing, James.
Jason, grateful to be alive.
Thanks for sharing. What's up, Mike?
Hello.
Hello.
My first thought was, oh shit, I forgot to get up and work out. Yeah, I didn't get up working out for like 2 days. And because Grant woke me up instead of alarm.
Papa Grant. He's a stiffler. Watch out for him. Watch out for that man. He'll smoke your boots quick, won't he? With love, though. With love. Okay. That's cool. Yeah. All right. Well, welcome, man. Welcome. First thought.
My first thought this morning was, I'm grateful for time. You can't get no more time. I'm grateful for time to get right with my kids, my mama, my friends, and with me.
Yeah.
Because they're going to make some more brown, they're going to make some more cakes. They ain't making no more time.
That's right.
So we got to be good how we can, because that's how we have.
Yeah. That's good. That's deep. I like it. Uh-oh. Mr. Jaja Binks. Kobe, what's up, bud?
Nothing much. What's up?
You said, why don't you come on up here to tell me about this one? We talked about this earlier, remember?
What?
You were going to come up here. You said you wanted to. You asked me if you could, and I said, absolutely. That's why we're doing all this, Kobe. So you sure you don't want to come up there? This is going on YouTube, by the way.
That's fine.
Well, so it would catch. I don't know if that camera can catch like your close up. Maybe, you know. You,
Got no OnlyFans. I got close up on.
oh. All right. No judgment here. No judgment. So what? Aside from your OnlyFans page, which we'll talk about that later, when it's not on YouTube. Unless that was a little shout out for your business. I don't know. That's not what this is for, is promoting your OnlyFans, Kobe. This is for spiritual service. You know, you see that emblem back there, the McShin Foundation? This is about helping people get whole again, right? We're not going to talk about what you do on OnlyFans. But what was the first thought? I'm glad you didn't come up there and rep that you had this morning. First thought.
I was hoping it was Wednesday already. I'm trying to go home and see my kid.
Okay. All right. Well, when you found out it was Sunday, what was the next thought? Let's try not to curse on this too, please. All right, so you were a little disappointed. No, go ahead. Aren't you going to come with me up on the stage? Now you're scared, huh? Now you're scared. All right. No, I love you, Kobe. It's all good. But, you know, it was a positive thought. Well, if you thought it was Wednesday, That would have been positive. Oh, okay. All right. My man Wade. Yeah, the mic works. Don't you worry about that. Do you want to come up here, Wade? No. Okay, all right. All right. I'm glad you're here, Wade. I'm glad.
I woke up this morning, Fredo. I was just thankful that I'm still here.
Yeah.
Out there.
Gratitude.
Yeah.
You know, that's an action word now.
And then another thing, though, when I first woke up, thought I had to keep my promise to somebody.
Do you care to share? Okay. All right. Let's get Papa Grant here. He's got something probably positive to say here, or maybe I don't know. Sometimes do, yeah.
What's up, guys? I'm Grant. My first thought was making sure the girlfriend got to Boston safe.
Boston.
Boston, yeah. She went there.
She parked the car in the dooryard, huh?
She made it safe, and then the next one was just being thankful I was here and being able to help out the guys, the intensive guys. So.
Nothing about golf and losing later? Okay, all right. Grant thinks he's going to win this afternoon. We'll have to see. First thought, my friend, that you had when you woke up this morning.
Gratitude today. I got 14 more spleen down, and I'm 63. Gratitude comes with it. It's just so overwhelming. I mean, it's just I can't put it in words.
Yeah.
But it's a good feeling, man, being around people that, I'm still struggling to talk with people because, it's hard for me to get along with people. So it's a good thing that I'm learning gratitude and respect of other people.
Yeah. All right.
It's a good thing.
I got you. Congratulations on your clean time. Keep doing the right thing, man. That's right. I'm proud of you, man. Proud of everybody in here.
Yeah, my first thought was to continue to work on my recovery.
Good. All right. Thank you. You know, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. What is it? It is connection. That's what they say. I don't want to be up there. I like being here. Yeah, it's connection. And that's something that's special about the McShin Foundation is that when you come in here, we allow you very easily to get connected with everyone in here, whether you come in through the sober living aspect or whether you come in, with intensive. Either way, we help open doors for you guys to be around like-minded people that can understand you. We got a Hope Dealer right there T-shirt. That's awesome. I love that. I wore that in West Virginia last week, and they were like, dang, where'd you get that shirt at? I'm like, well, in my job. So what's nice about what we offer here, and there's a study, a little stat, I should say, that I heard from Raymond, or was it Gavin, that when you stay at McShin for 6 months or more, the percentages of people who stay in sobriety for long terms, it goes way up. So congratulations to everybody here today and at McShin. If they stick around for 6 months at least, Colby, they're basically ensuring that they stay sober for a long time to come. Because in those 6 months, you make a nice, recovery capital that you connect with a lot of people. Your network gets much bigger. Because if you don't change the people, places, and things, it's hard to think that when you just get up out of here that you'll be okay. And I'm not saying you won't, Colby. I'm just saying it makes it a lot easier if you stick around. So we'll talk about you moving over to sober living after this. But I'm very grateful for McShin. I came in through the sober living part. I was tired of sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? Like people say. Because if nothing changes, nothing's going to change. So I came here because my sister lives right around the corner in Lakeside. And I was born and raised, just a little bit about my story, and then we'll go back into y'all talking, because I like that a lot better when you guys are interacting with the crowd. I was born and raised in Madagascar in Africa, and to two very great parents, very loving, caring missionaries that were had just wonderful hearts. And I think that's why my heart's so big, because my parents are just exuded love and kindness and care and tenderness into my life. So when I started, messing up, and I'd go into, the rooms of NA and AA, and I went to a rehab, and I heard everybody's story about, like, you know, them being sexually assaulted or molested or abused or, you know, abandoned, I kind of closed up, and I couldn't understand why I had my disease of addiction, you know, because essentially I had a great childhood. You know, I lived all around the world. I speak 5 languages, and so, like, it was this gift that I had been given by my parents that I didn't look at it as a gift, you know. It was like I was wearing this, like, somebody suit, right? And you know, it's like a space suit, and it wasn't a suit that fit me, right? This was something that was, like, too tight, and it didn't, like, I felt confined. And everyone else would come up and they'd say, wow, that's a really nice suit you have, you know. Where'd you get that suit? You know, we're speaking metaphorically. And so, but I didn't like the way I felt inside my suit. I didn't like being who I was, and I hated myself, you know. I didn't love myself. Today, you know, I have a relationship with myself to where, you know, I'm sometimes extremely happy when I'm just by myself, when I don't have anyone else. Because I don't really need anyone else. I have everything I need right here inside of me. I mean, I love McShin. I love my family. I love having that sort of connection. But I mean, connection to myself was what I had lost, I'd like to say. Something that you see a lot in Africa and other parts of Asia with elephants, when they're trying to domesticate elephants, right? What they do, they'll take a baby elephant and they can put a small, like a thick, you know, shackled metal bracelet, like, you know, cuffs around the elephant's leg. And when that elephant's a baby, he'll sit there and tug to try to rip up the chain because he doesn't like to feel confined, you know. And what happens is that elephant, as long as that shackled elephant is like that for, you know, almost a year or so, you can domesticate them that way, to where when they're adult elephants, they could uproot a tree, you know, like a 6-ton tree. They could just rip that out of the ground. But as an elephant, like baby, when they get conditioned to not be able to break that chain, they learn that rope, you know, what was a chain now becomes a rope, and they can just, you know, you can literally put a tiny little shoestring around that elephant, and it won't leave. It will think that it's, you know, bound to whatever you put on it. And so I bring that up because, you know, we have these fears, these resentments, these issues, trauma that make up our lives, and those are like the different layers or the different shackles that we all have in addiction, that just because we're now sober today, as I hope everybody is, doesn't mean that we don't still have, you know, confinements from our past, or traumas, or fears, insecurities, or resentments that still need to be addressed, because, you know, that can send us back out there, is not taking a look at ourselves. You know, they say that the disease itself of alcohol or addiction with drugs and stuff is only, you know, 10% of the problem. 90% of the problem is our behaviors. So changing up our behaviors is very difficult when we don't change up our environment, when we don't change up our friends that we deal with, when we don't change up, you know, some of the core things that played into that disease. So, where was I going with this? The music thing this morning that we were playing before I came on here, and Mike is going to give us a little taste of his a cappella beautiful voice. It's a component that I like to really dive into for a minute today, because I don't know about you guys, but, you know, the things I surround myself, when I say people, places, and things, music is a big part of that, because the music that you're listening to when you have your phones, or in your cars, or in your, you know, sober living house, or even if you've moved out of McShin, that you surround yourself with is what kind of affects you in like a really deep way, whether you realize it or not. So what kind of music, you know, I implore you guys to just think about that and be aware and be cautious of it, because music is energy, right? And energy is essentially our emotions, right? Emotions, energy in motion, that's where it's going, right? Wherever we're listening to, whoever we're around. And that connection that we spoke about earlier can sometimes make or break those emotions can sometimes make or break our feelings, our internal emotions. And so I like to listen to positive music. I like to listen to things that have a good message in them. And that puts me in a better headspace, you know. What was I going to say? I don't really want to get into that water thing because me and Travis want to talk about that later. That's where my mind was going. But anyways, so can I get that mic again, Steve? Let me, it's up here. Cool. Let's see. Let's talk about that thing that stops us from having, or what we do maybe, right? Let's start with you, Henry. What is something that you do to that self-help, like sort of to help you clear your mind from a bad feeling, a bad day, negative action, kind of like, how do you, self-care, what would you do for your self-care? Something positive that you do. I know you do some running, right, in the morning. Like, what are some of the things that you do as like a ritual, let's say? Because you can't spell spiritual without ritual in it, right? So
yeah, I walk a lot. So whether that's like 2 miles, 3 miles, sometimes 7, 8 miles, that helps. I like to run also, like early in the morning before the sun's up. And then I think just having like several different people that I talk to on the phone regularly that aren't here. So like whether that's my mom, my little brother, one of my best friends who I met in rehab back in 2017. She's down in North Carolina, and we talk like usually once or twice a week. But I think when it comes to the people that I talk to like that, I usually leave like 2 to 4 days in between talking to them of no contact. And so that's important for me just because I think having intimacy with people is important, but also having space. And so being able to just be independent and not lean on them, just like texting or anything like that throughout the days, because then I have more time to grow how I want to grow. And then I write music, and then I record music. But this time, I don't have a laptop right now, so I don't get to just write it and record it right then, which I like. So I actually come up here and Steve lets me use his computer, so I record on his computer with my mic up in the podcast room. And sometimes it's like Raymond will be over here, like, is that Henry?
I heard you the other day, and I knew it was you because I heard you rapping, but I didn't want to mess up the flow that you had going on.
No one interrupts me. People are really polite. But I think having my house where I can write and there's not the pressure of recording there actually helps more than like being right in the studio at the time.
Okay, so
it's a very different creative process.
So we don't need to talk to the counselor about maybe getting you a laptop or something.
No, I make it happen. But
I know you will, yeah. He might want you to too, though.
Yeah. Well, my relationship with him also is very different than it ever has been. You know?
Yeah.
But it's more supportive because I leave a lot of space for him and me. But whenever I do hit him up, he's like, he's there. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Knowing my role and knowing the people in my life, knowing their roles and not trying to get them to cross-train. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if they're just a great bartender, like I leave them there. You know, I'm not like, hey, can you also be the dishwasher?
Gotcha. I gotcha. All right, I see what you're doing there. All right. How's your mom doing, by the way?
Okay, so my mom is a tough situation because she is so great in the beginning of when I'm in a program or rehab or whatever. Like she's really, really into it.
Yeah.
But then there comes a point where working on childhood trauma becomes a thing, and then she shells up. You know, she's like, she doesn't want to take the divorce process being like 4 years in court, you know, like hundreds of thousands of dollars to lawyers. Like she doesn't want to talk about that.
Right.
But I have to talk about that at some
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So in the past, has become a point where I relapsed.
Really?
Yeah, because I can't grow past a certain threshold with my family because they're comfortable and they have enough money to where they don't really need me in their life.
Right. Well, I mean, and that's you can grow past it, right? Like today, but they might not be able to grow past it.
I can't if they can't. That's the issue.
Really? You feel that way?
I do.
Well, how do you know that you won't, in time, have that bridge crossed?
Well, because it's resolution. Like, I do need resolution.
Well, I mean, but who sets the timeline on the resolution? You?
No, God does.
Okay, and how does God work, do you think, in your own opinion?
Through my family members like Doug and May.
Well, what I mean is, does he understand time, like the way we have a concept for time, or does he create his own thing?
He's not bound by our
Right.
temporal limits.
Okay.
You know, but at the same time, he doesn't have control over our decision making.
Okay.
So sometimes we postpone his timeline due to our decision making.
Because we have free will, you're
Or
saying?
we expedite it. You know, it depends on how we line up with God's will.
Okay. Well, that's a good answer. Let's see what Mike does. Thank you, Henry. That was good. I know I can always call on Henry and bail me out when I'm like lost for words here. Thank you. Huh?
Self-care ritual?
Let's talk about, yeah, I mean, just what you do when you're, like for self-care, sure.
Like Henry too, I'm a huge walker. I probably walk from 5 to 12 miles every day. And then huge gratitude journal every day, write that down, and if I start to get stuck, then I concentrate on my breath, because you can always be grateful for that. And the one thing I have to do every single day is create or utilize a gift in one way or another. Because
That's good.
those were given to me, and it's selfish for me to hold on to them, because something can be impactful, and they're not mine, so I have to give them freely. So that's why walking in today, I mean, if Walter were here, he would have made me sing anyway, and I was like,
I think he's proud that you just gave that answer, too. I think he's proud the way you said that, right?
yeah, and it's okay to be selfish in this program, but I can't be selfish with my gifts.
That's good. Thank you. Who else has some way of handling their emotions, self-care, something? Give us something.
So maybe I should start with how I don't.
Sure.
I say too much, usually. Like, if I'm feeling some type of way, I'm going to tell you that I feel some type of way, and it's not exactly healthy, the way I act on things. Bless you. And so now I do a lot of no-send text messages, because I can be real passive-aggressive. And so I'll write a whole bunch of really, really long, ridiculous text message, and I'll just keep it in drafts. And like, I'll keep reading it, and reading it, and reading it, and then I'm like, okay, Kelly, you are being ridiculous. And so then I'll delete it. But sometimes I do send them. But I try not to do it on the impulse, because I can do that, and I have done that a lot. And then I also try to think about what will happen down the line. Is the drama necessary for the things that I have to say? Because usually it's not.
It's a little cost analysis here. That's good.
Like pros and cons.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, like, I'm good at stirring stuff up. It's easy for me. Very easy for me to do. Because I think so quickly with things. But I try to take my time more to think about what will happen later on. Is it necessary for me to say? Is it necessary? Like, will it really affect me in the next 5 minutes, in the next month, 5 months, a year? And if it's not, and it doesn't, then I don't say it. Or I don't send messages anymore. I was going to say one more thing.
It's like, I hear you saying page 87 in the big book, right? You pause when agitated or doubtful and wait for the next thought or action. Constantly reminding yourself.
I try not to create, I really do, because I've done that, and it's very uncomfortable afterwards to deal with what I've stirred up. And till Monday. When the test results come back, and they'll be like, wow, she's actually probably like 2 in a million that really hasn't used, and like, I'm not gonna hear it again after that. And that's exactly what happened. So, I just stuck to my guns. Like, I know that I didn't. And normally I would be like, well, they think I'm getting high, I'm gonna get high anyway. And I didn't do that. I just stayed, and I did what they asked me to do. Came up to the church and stayed until 5. Because that was what was asked of me, and I have the willingness to do that. Before, I would be like, nope, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that is.
I'm
It's
still
huge.
here, so, yeah.
Thank you. Let's get Grant because he's texting on his phone right quick. Let's get him involved in the service here. Grant, how do you handle those rough moments today? Self-care. What do you do for yourself?
What I do for self-care is I do the breathing meditation that we do on Mondays here that Frank gives.
Shout out to Frank. Yeah, he's awesome.
Frank. So the meditation and breathing just helps me get into like a calm headspace every morning. I actually really like giving back the service work part. I do the intensive program. I'm the house leader there, so giving back with the boys and hanging out with them and making sure they get through the day is part of my self-care. It's filling up someone else's cup. I play a lot of sports. I go out, have alone time, really. I can go play golf all day long and have a great day. And I do a lot of exercising to get out of my head, push my body to the limit so can't really think about anything. So that's what I do for my self-care and handling those bad moments. Just no rash decisions. I actually talked about this last night. I call it urge surfing. You have an urge come through or a negative emotion come through. All emotions are valid. So once you have that emotion come through, you feel it, you can talk about it. You talk about it with your friend or whoever's around you. You let them know how you're feeling, and you just ride that wave out and not act on it. So that's how I deal with my emotions.
That's good. I knew you'd give us a good answer there. I think I stole the mic from somebody here who wanted to hold it this time. You did not want to hold it, no? Does anyone here? So,
I do like trying to get exercise and walk or involve myself in nature to help with my
okay.
thoughts or writing on paper.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, it's good that we all have more or less at least thoughts that don't involve drugs today, right? They involve like others, or some gratitude, children, daughters, helping people, giving back. That's great. I guess gratitude was my first thought when I woke up today as well. I don't know where it comes from, like these blessings that keep coming, but I know if I just don't put a substance in my body today that good things are on the way. You hear that, Wade? Good things are on the way. We just don't need to pick up today. That's the only thing we got to do is just not pick up today. We don't need to worry about 2 weeks from now. We don't need to worry about next Tuesday, just today. And then tomorrow comes around and then we just do that again, And I think it's important to find a purpose in something, some sort of meaning, something that gives you that connection that's outside of your recovery maybe, so that you have different venues or avenues that you can pull from when you need that sort of energy or that to diffuse and let off some of that steam, because we can't pour out of an empty cup, right? I'm going to give the stage to Mike because I want to hear what he has to, sing. Yeah. So everybody give Mike a shout out here. Do you want this mic? You got it? Does that work?
Yeah.
That'll work.
So now it's become like tradition of coming here and Walter just hands me the mic. So I actually woke up this morning and was like, how's the voice? So I'll just lead us out with this. Lord, I will lift mine eyes to the hills.
and I lift my hands in total praise to you. One more time, Lord, I will lift mine eyes to the hills, knowing thine help is coming from you. Your peace you give me in time of the storm. You are the source of my strength, and you are the strength of my life. And I lift my hands in total praise to